If you have also struggled with anger throughout your motherhood journey, I want you to know right now that you are definitely not alone. You are not the only mom who has a struggle with anger or even sometimes rage in your motherhood journey. And I want to encourage you right now with this simple truth that there is a way to overcome. There is a way to obtain freedom in this area of your life. I am nowhere close to having it all together, but the Lord has brought me down an incredible journey of healing and of freedom in my own heart and my own mind, which has resulted in more stability emotionally throughout the last 7 years. And if you do not know me, hello, my name is Hope. I am a wife and mom of 3 little boys, and it is a privilege to sit down with you and talk with you right now. I pray that this message encourages you with where you are at right now. Maybe even today you desperately needed to know that you are not alone in your struggle with anger as a mom, and you're not a bad mom. You're not feeling, you're just a mom who is overstressed probably, or feeling the pressure and feeling the weight of life on your shoulders. And I want to validate, first of all, where you are at today. I understand completely how overwhelming the stresses of life can be. I have been there, done that. Our stories are not going to be the same, but we both can say to one another that sometimes life is just really hard, and it is difficult to learn how to work through our own emotions, plus helping our little ones navigate their emotions also. And bear with me, there are cars going down our road and there is a dog barking. I hope that you don't hear that a lot in this video, but I want to share with you very key pieces of advice that have helped me understand why I get to the point of severe anger in my home. And sometimes that has definitely looked like rage in my own home with my family. I went to counseling about 1.5 years ago, and very short story, in that period of counseling, that I actually started going to counseling due to a lot of traumatic situations that me and my husband had walked through pertaining to loss, pregnancy loss. But in that 1.5 years of counseling, God had showed me something very, very specific. He showed me many things through the help of my counselor. But one of those key things that I want to tell you is that when I get to the point of feeling like I'm going to explode, it's attached to this feeling that I'm trapped in an elevator and there's no way out. It's like the elevator stopped, I'm traumatized by the situation and I'm trying to get out, but there's no way out, and so I just start screaming for help. And so that very specific analogy, I hope that it helps you maybe detect one of your triggers with anger and how you can start to overcome, in visualizing yourself in the situations that you are in that make you feel like you're going to explode. This visualization actually really helped me, of being trapped in an elevator, but actually telling myself in the stressful situation with my kids, for example, I'm not trapped. I have a choice of either responding in love to my kids or not. I'm not trapped. And I think just that sentence has helped me gain more freedom in very stressful situations with my children, tantrums and meltdowns and screaming and crying. And when you have multiple kids, it kind of feels like this ticking time bomb, and it's very overstimulating, as all of us know. And so it's really helped me to be able to grasp, okay, I feel stuck, but I'm not. That is one of the first things I want to give you, is a piece of advice of visualizing yourself in maybe a similar situation, or maybe it feels like you're drowning with no life preserver or something like that, and telling yourself, I'm not drowning, I'm not trapped, and speaking the truth over yourself that I have a choice right now. I can take 3 deep breaths, literally take 3 deep breaths, count to 3, whatever it is, and then know in your head how you want to respond. So that leads me into my very next tip, is that I am slowly starting to learn how to prepare my mind ahead of time when I know that there's going to be a meltdown, or I know that there's going to be an argumentative situation with my oldest or something like that, or I know that there's probably going to be screaming or crying. I'm trying to learn how to prepare my mind for that situation and then teach myself how I'm going to respond before the situation actually happens. And this has been a total victory point for me in my own heart, in my mind, is actually preparing myself for the exact situation that would make me want to explode in anger, but I've already taught myself, no, I'm gonna respond this way. And so maybe that would help you too. And in just very simple, well, I mean, they're really not simple, but practical ways that we can start to overcome our anger is through acknowledging our triggers, what triggers us, preparing our mind for those triggers, and actually, it's like when you're preparing for anything in life, but let's just take an athletic thing, for example, like preparing for a marathon. You're preparing your body ahead of time so that it is well equipped for the race. And that leads to my, next point in all of this, is that because I'm a Christian, because I follow Jesus, that means that I have to be in the Word. I have to be in prayer over myself, over my kids, over my husband, over our family. I have to prioritize prayer and worship, and not stimulating, not overstimulating my brain during the day, so that when those stressful situations come, I'm not already full of what my phone is doing, all the things, right? What our phone is doing, or making our to-do list so impossible that it's stressing us out, and then we explode out of a situation that was actually pretty simple to resolve with our children. But because we're already overstimulated, it exacerbates everything. And so that's something I've been learning too, is just how to walk through my days in a much more quieter, intentional, peaceful way, so that I'm not overloading my plate. Which for me, overloading my plate with things that are important but maybe don't need to be accomplished that day helps me to walk through the day much more purposeful, which lessens the feeling of overwhelm, which decreases the possibility of anger. If you're tracking with me, it's very much like a puzzle pieces fitting together, and we have to learn as moms how to fit those puzzle pieces together so that we're walking much more peacefully throughout our day. So, I mean, prayer and worship, that is honestly the number one thing for me. And taking the time that's necessary to work on our triggers, to discover how are we gonna work through the situations that are stressful. Talking them out really, really helps. Talking it all out with your spouse or a friend or a counselor, it significantly helps to just speak it all out. And it's almost like, I don't know, the stress kind of loses its grip on us the more that we talk it out. So I just want to read a couple of verses from the Bible with you right now. There are so many passages in the Bible that talk about the power of our tongue, but I have 3 that I'm going to read. And the first one is from Psalm 119, and it says, in verse 143, it says, "As pressure and stress bear down on me, I find joy in your commands. Your laws are always right. Help me to understand them so I may live." And I think that speaks perfectly to motherhood. As stress and pressure bear down on us, Help me, God, to find joy in your commands. Help me to find joy in your presence in every moment. You have heard this one before, most likely, but Proverbs 15:1 says, "A gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare." A gentle answer deflects anger. So just being mindful of like a gentle answer, stopping before we speak, deflects all of the anger. All right, and then James chapter 3 is like basically a whole chapter about taming the tongue, and it's very powerful. I mean, verse 5 says, "In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And among all the parts of the body, the tongue is a flame of fire. It is a whole world of wickedness, corrupting your entire body, and it can set your whole life on fire." Then James 4:7 says, "So humble yourself before God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." I once again, I know that I mentioned this, but you're not the only one, friend. You're definitely not the only one. So I hope that this video encouraged you. Share in the comments below what stuck out to you most, what you're working on in your own personal life, in terms of this struggle that you may have also. And I hope that just being vulnerable with you allows you to also be vulnerable and to be open and honest. The Lord's grace is so sufficient. And if we're seeking Him with our whole heart, and we're wanting to grow, and we're wanting to become the peaceful, loving mothers that we want to be, and wives that we want to be, I know, because I've seen it in my own life, that He will honor that request, and He will help us day after day after day to glorify Him with our tongue and to glorify Him with our actions. And yes, we're going to sin, we're going to make mistakes, and we just ask for forgiveness and move on. But letting ourselves kind of plummet into shame will not serve us or our family. And so I just want to encourage you to pray through this. If something really resonated with you, let me know in the comments, but pray through this for your own personal life. Thank you so much for being here with me this week and for taking some time with me to talk about this hard issue. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.